to the Wander World podcast, where we explore the highs and lows of life and the intricate spaces in between. I'm your host, Chaz Smith, and in that vein, we talk to inspiring individuals about how they charted their path through life's complexities. And today, we have a world-renowned stylist who has created the WEN Hair Body Care line. Please welcome Chaz Dean. Thank you so much for being here. This is incredible to have you here. And full disclosure, guys, I go to the salon. I love the product. So if I'm biased, it's because I am, because it's really good. So how are you doing?
It's my thing.
Yeah,
that is true. I just explained to her, I forgot the first name, I'm so sorry. Kayla. She said she got her hair done yesterday and she posted it and it was beautiful. And I said, you gotta come in and see us. And I said, Chaka's there all the time.
Yeah. So everything's going well, doing well?
Yeah, we opened in New York. I know you know that because you asked me when you go back to New York. So that itself, we can go on another thing, but that was a journey since 2015. I bought a building September 2015, closed escrow. It's a landmark building from 1845. So getting through the landmark approvals, it took me 3.5 years, but that's its own subject. But we're finally open, 59 Greenwich Avenue in the West Village. It's really beautiful.
Here now, nice. Well, I want to start at the beginning. You started as a styling assistant, and now you are here, 700 products, over 200 million bottles sold in the last 10 years alone. Quite a feat. How did you have a holistic approach to your business and your life? How did that holistic approach inform your journey?
You can hear me, right? Part of what's crazy is, as you told me where we were doing this podcast, when I was 19, when I moved, lived in Pennsylvania until I was 13, moved to California, but it was Simi Valley, graduated high school. A week later, my family moved to Arizona. I went to school for photography. That's how I started out. I got photography all through high school. Loved photography, but I wanted to incorporate my vision of the hair and makeup I wanted to see with my photography, so I went to school for hair. I knew I was not staying in Arizona because it's like, I'm sorry, to me, Arizona's made for lizards and rattlesnakes. It's way too hot for me, way too hot. So I knew I wasn't staying there, there's no way. So I went to school for photography, commercial photography, and hair. And I moved back here when I was 19, and my very first apartment is right behind this building. At the dead end, Harriet Street, I was at 9030 Harriet, so it's right behind this building is my first ever apartment I lived in on my own when I was 19, which is kind of crazy. Yeah, I thought we were at that Soho when you said here, I'm like, I lived in that, that's why I moved here, and that's where it all started. It all started as an assistant. And I came here with, full disclosure, I literally saved up while I was in beauty school. I worked at nights and saved my money so I could move back here. And back when I was 19, I saved $3,000, which then seemed like enough. Now it would be nothing, it'd be gone in a week. But I saved $3,000 to move here, and I knew I was on a very limited income because we made minimum wage, which was nothing then. And I just had to hustle. I had to bust my butt, and I'm not joking. So we would do 5 models a week, and it got you going through the program quickly. I went through a great training program. There was no room for screwing up because they were interviewing, it was Carlton in the Beverly Center, and they were interviewing every Tuesdays and Thursdays, and they would have 20, 30 people wanting the job. So if you didn't want yours or you weren't stepping up, you were gone. There were no questions asked. It was like literally call in sick or didn't show up with a model 3 times, no model, you're out, and they move on to the next person. So it was insane discipline, but it got me my foundation, and I moved through it quickly. So after I graduated from assisting, they asked me if I would teach. And it's great that you do that because now you're instilling what you learned, and it makes you think about it as you're teaching it, and you learn by teaching, and that's huge. It is huge. So in our salon now, you already know, as our stylists graduate from assistants and they become stylists, we get them to teach as well because it reinforces what you know, but when you verbalize it, it just ingrains it so much deeper. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. Makes sense.
So after that, I became an assistant manager, and I was more, I would say, more like a cheerleader because the manager that we had was very moody, and my goal every day was to get him in a good mood because if he wasn't in a good mood, it meant the whole space wasn't. So my goal was that we're gonna get them, everything's good, come on, let's go. And I was like a cheerleader until they asked me if I would consider going to their Century City salon and managing it. And I was only 21 at the time. I was insanely young. But because I showed how I moved through each process, they gave me that. But on top of that, that's when I started developing products, when I was 19. I was 19, when I was an assistant, I happened to ask them, you have your own product line, but you buy deep conditioners from a beauty supply. That doesn't make sense. Why don't you have your own deep conditioner? And they said, well, if you want, we'll set you up with a lab if you want to help us do that. So ask questions, guys, because I wouldn't be sitting here today if I didn't ask that question when I was 19. So they did. They set me up with a lab. I worked with her. I said, here's what we currently do. Let's start with this, but let's make it even better. So that's what we did. About 6 months after they launched that, it was called Reconstructor. And about 6 months after they launched that, they came to me and they said, would you consider working with us on a more natural product line? And I said, yeah. And my question was, but what will I get out of it? Because again, I was still this 19, barely 20-year-old kid. And I'd already created one product for them, but their words were, show us you can do it first and then we'll discuss that. And in my mind, I'm like, didn't I already do that the first time? But I like doing what I did, and I'm glad I didn't say that because I like doing what I did. I did do it. And about 1.5 years later, we launched a primrose shampoo for them, sage conditioner, and rosemary conditioner for them. And it was called E. coli back then, but it's the Fashion Formulas, the big sexy line. I developed their first ever 3 products, and they're like worldwide. So that was me, and coming out of that, once it was launched, met with them about what I'll get from it, and lessons, your self-worth, which is important. As I started with them, in my head, I thought, maybe I'll get like 15% out of this. And in the 1.5 years of creating it, in my own head, my own dialogue, no dialogue with them, I went from 15% to 12% to 10% in my own head. Because I knew that they were cheap, so I didn't want to let myself down. So I went all the way from 15% to the 1.5 years before when we launched it. In my head, I was like, oh, if I get 3 or 4%, I'd be happy. So I went from 15 to 3 or 4, went and met with them after it was launched, and they slid a piece of paper across the table to me. I turned it over, and they offered me a penny per bottle for every bottle manufactured. I know. Wow. A penny per bottle. I'm like, ugh. And I'm like, I'd already done it. It was theirs. I didn't invest money, but I put all my everything into it. And so.
How do you come back from that?
You launch your own line. No, but I'm being serious. No, I didn't, because in my head I'm thinking, okay, 100 bottles is $1. I'm like, how am I even going to get to $1,000 as a struggling, stylist at the time? So the point was, in all honesty, I never even saw that. They never gave me anything. But what I took away from it was, if I created that product for them, what can I now do for myself? And this is after launching this. I was in their Bel Air salon because I resigned from management because they wouldn't even pay you minimum wage to manage. It was just a status quote. You had a title. You didn't get paid to manage. It was, and again, I wouldn't be where I'm at if I didn't do it, but you didn't get paid for it. I'm like, just pay me minimum wage, which again was like 5 something an hour, guys. Just pay me minimum wage to show me it has value and it means something to you. You're gonna have me emotional because they didn't do that. No, they wouldn't even do that. So I'm like, I learned as much as I can. It was taking away from me building my clients, and I was making less money because you had to go to meetings and you had to manage people, 20 stylists, and my own clients were suffering. So I resigned from management. I went up to the Bel Air salon. It's at Beverly Glen in Mulholland, and it was all ex-managers up there at the time. So it was a really busy salon, but there was no harmony, there was no music on, there was no coffee made, there was no vibe, no energy. So I started managing it, again, just because it's who I am and I've got to create a vibe and energy. And I did it for as long as I could, and then one of the other ex-managers did the same. We kind of traded off, like, okay, you take it for 6 months, then I'll take it, and we went back and forth. Until the point came when a lot of the ex-managers that had built-in clientele were leaving to open their own salons, and they had stylists that were talented up there, but they weren't building. And it's because they're in one of the richest neighborhoods in California, Bel Air, and those women are multimillionaires, and it said Carlton over the door. And I'm like, you need to change that name because they think of it as a chain salon, and it was. And I'm like, these women have too much pride. They're not going to walk through these doors. I told them that for years, didn't do it. So finally, they got word that they were going to be selling the salon. I'm like, oh my God, where am I going to go? What am I going to do? And they offered it to me, and my first knee-jerk reaction is I said no. I said, no way, hell no, because I knew they screwed me over X, Y, and Z times. But then I thought about, like, wait a minute. The only reason it's not working here is because their ego won't let them change that name. So I did do it, and that's when I opened my first salon. And within a month, I didn't have any money. I had no money, so I just painted the walls, put up, it was shabby chic then, so put up bright roses hanging upside down and so forth. I just gave it an energy and a vibe, and within a month it was buzzing. The owners lived in the neighborhood and they would come by and like, what did you do? How'd you do this? I'm like, I told you, all you had to do was change that name. And that was it. But their ego wouldn't allow them to do it. So there is hopefully a lot of lessons in there. I could have been disgruntled that they screwed me over and been angry about it, and I would still be in that today. But I turned that around and thought, if I created that for them, imagine what I could do for myself, and this is what I did for myself.
Amazing. And how were you able to buy that salon when they offered it to you? Were you like cobble together from friends, or? My
grandfather. I had to pay him back because it was my grandfather. I didn't come from money, so it wasn't insane, but I had to pay him back and so forth. But actually, it's funny because when we were young, my gosh, when we lived in Pennsylvania, my grandparents, they saved all their money, they never spent money. So my aunt and uncle lived in Hong Kong, and they took my brother, who at the time was probably 12, I was probably 10, on a trip to Hong Kong. And so when I asked them for the money, they said, well, since, this is, my God, 10, 12 years earlier, they said, well, since we took your brother to Hong Kong, we never did, go ahead and do that and just pay back whenever you can, whatnot. So it did. It afforded me the ability to do that. But I was on shoestring budgets up until 2008, no joke. Because I was at QVC 2005, but still struggling. It wasn't until 2008 that I saw, I can breathe and I don't have to throw the bills up and figure out which one I'm going to pay. Because that's what it was.
And people miss that journey when they see you out in public. They don't realize how hard it can be while you look successful.
It took me forever to get to the success, yes.
Well, I'll say one of the key...
You can't give up, sorry.
Yeah, you can't give up, no. And I'd say one of the key parts of your success is innovation. And so you create this product with no lather, which at the time was revolutionary, a 5-in-1. Where did you come up with the impetus for that level of innovation? And did you have challenges bringing it to market because it was so new, something no one had seen before?
The funny part is remember the 3 products I created for them, again, was Primrose Shampoo, Sage Conditioner, Rosemary Conditioner. The Sage Conditioner was more moisturizing, the Rosemary with the menthol was more astringent, and I knew that. As soon as it was May 1st of 1993 when I opened my salon up there, that day is the day I gave up lather. The only reason I did it before is because working for them, you had to sell shampoo, had to sell conditioner, had to sell styling products, because you had to do it in order to stay there. So as soon, the day I opened my salon, I knew my client's color would go down the drain. They would call 2 to 3 weeks later. I love my color when I left, but it's faded and brassy. I used to mix vegetable color in with the shampoo, and it worked a little bit. So I thought, I gotta maybe mix it in. So I would empty every bottle of conditioner, mix vegetable color in with the conditioner as well. So I would empty shampoo, mix in vegetable color, empty conditioner, mix in vegetable conditioner. But I knew that the reason it's fading is because that, can I say fucking shampoo? Because that fucking shampoo. I knew it was fading because of the damn shampoo. So I'm like, why don't I just get rid of the shampoo? Because that's what's causing it. Yeah. And I used to shampoo and condition my hair twice a day. Wow. It's 14 times a week because I would get so, when I would use shampoo in my hair, my scalp would tighten up, it would get so irritated, it felt horrible, and it would get knots through it, use a comb just to get through it, and it would get oily in the middle of the day. If I was going to dinner or a movie, I would be all oily at the scalp, I'd have to start all over again. If they say, want to go to dinner or a movie? I'm like, yeah, let me go home and shower first really quick, because the other night it's itching all that. So I knew my scalp was oily because I was robbing my oils, and your body's working overtime, just like your skin. And I learned it when in beauty school in Arizona. I would use sea breeze on my face, which is alcohol based, and for 5 or 10 minutes it would be dry, and then 15 minutes later it's like an oil slick, because you rob your skin of all its natural oils. Your brain says hurry up and replenish those, and it was the same thing with shampoo on my scalp. And I knew it, but I knew I had to figure out how do I get rid of that and how can I clean the hair. So with the sage conditioner that I created for them and the rosemary conditioner, I would mix it like 2/3 to 1/3, mix that together. And I started it once and I just did it for one day. I'm like, okay, that's one day. I got a day out of it. Then I did 2 days, then I did 3. I'm on 30 years now. I've not had lather touch my hair, my face, my body, my skin in 30 years.
Wow.
So yeah, it was just knowing what the monster was. How do I eliminate that monster and how do I fix it? And the company, I still worked for them when I was doing this. And then when I bought it, I told them about it because I was excited about it, but they didn't want to hear anything about it. And then all of a sudden, about a year later, they came back to me and said, you told us you don't use shampoo, you always order conditioner. Oh, when they asked me, you only order conditioner from us, you never order shampoo. I'm like, yeah, because I don't use that, I only use conditioner. And they like dismissed it completely. And about a year later, they came back and like, I remember you telling us there's a reason you don't. I'm like, because you're ready to screw me over again. Yeah. So the stylist was ready to tell them what I do. I'm like, don't say a word. So I knew I was onto something. With my clients, I would explain to them, because they would think it's weird. Like, how am I going to get my hair clean with conditioner? I'm like, it's not traditional conditioner. Traditional conditioner is filled with polymers, fillers, binders, and waxes. That's going to detangle your hair. Yeah. This doesn't have all those polymers, fillers, binders, waxes. It's not going to weigh your hair down. And that's how they think of it. It's heavy, greasy, and weighing your hair down. That's more like a cream rinse. So I said, as long as you trust me, I promise it works. So it was building the trust with my clients, and then they would see the difference in their hair. And I started out with Nicolette Sheridan was my first ever celebrity client. She was on Knots Landing at the time. And I got her off the bleach and off the shampoo. And her brother was dating Tori Spelling from 90210 at the time. She says, you need to go see Chaz. He's going to get you off bleach and off shampoo. And she's like, I know it sounds weird, just trust him. So Tori Spelling, and you can watch back Knots Landing and watch back 90210, and you can see when I started doing Tori's hair. You see the difference in her hair. And then she sent Shannon Doherty, and then Jenny Garth, and it just was snowballing. It just kept going. And then ER with Juliana Margulies and Gloria Rubin, the curly girls. And so it just was a snowball thing. So the element was, yes, it was somewhat difficult getting people to embrace it, but they would see who sent them and like, okay, it sounds weird. It doesn't make sense. It sounds backwards, but I'll trust you and I'll try it. I'm like, as long as you do what I say, I promise it works. And it just kept building. So I worked on my line for 5 years before I launched it. And part of it was because I didn't have the money to launch it. And I asked some of my clients if they would be interested in investing, because I had nothing. I met my birth family in 1998. I found my birth family. And I didn't launch till 2000, November 2000. So I asked my birth family, like, I wish we could, we just don't have the money. It's like, I didn't come from money whatsoever, anywhere, growing up, any of it. So I just had to wait until I could afford it. And when I finally launched it in November of 2000, I had to manufacture it at the lab and fill it elsewhere because I couldn't even meet their minimum. So I only manufactured 2,000 units, which is the least you can fill. So that's how I started, and it was the snowball effect. So it went from one cleansing conditioner in November of 2000, Sweet Almond Mint, to Tea Tree was my second one. And my second one was because I had clients that, again, I'm not making a claim here, I'm just telling you why I developed it. I had a client that had lupus, and she had to use medicated products. And she would watch everyone with the beautiful hair, and she's like, I'm so envious, I just wish I could use it, but I have to use medicated products because of my lupus. If you would create one that I could use, I would love to. So I did my research, and I went online. I'm like, Tea Tree's antifungal, antiseptic, antibacterial. So Tea Tree's my second one I launched, and it was in June of 2001. And it's like got a cult following for, it's, again, problem solution, baby fine hair, coarse unruly hair, can't wear black, those sort of things. Tea Tree's amazing. So no medical claims. I just know the reason I created it was because of my client.
And your personal
Thank
belief, your personal beliefs, like permeate your salon, obviously, but you created so many products after that moment. How do you, I guess, keep the integrity of your personal belief across so many product lines?
There's just, well, I shoot every label too, so I think I don't know if you know that. I shoot every label, and I'm involved in every aspect of it. It's like I'll shoot the label, and then we manufacture the product. I'm testing the product. Like right now, I'm testing my Prosperity's in my hair. So I don't have styling cream, I don't have mousse in my hair. It's literally just the cleansing conditioner. So as I test them, while I was testing back for those 5 years, I would always test like sample A on one side, B on the other. I had half and half head for over 5 years. And I would go to the salon and say, which side looks better? Because I knew what I thought. Which side looks better? Okay, boom. And I would keep going. Next sample, next sample, next sample. And then I would have my stylist test it. That's how I started. My stylist test it. Once we were all on the same page, and you know, in my salon, I'm the minority at my salon, and you know what I mean by that. I really am. There's not many white guys there. There isn't, and my salon's always been that way. So the diversity of my client of my product has always been that way, because I want it to be from the baby fine hair to the coarse curly, black girl hair, black guy hair, and it's always been that way. So testing it first on myself, then on them, then on our clients is how it's been. So the integrity's always been there. I won't ever, and to my product development team, they would love it to be a different way, but it's like, I don't sign off on it. My name's on it, my integrity's on it. So I am not signing off on it until I'm 100% satisfied with it. So it doesn't waver. There's ones that I've had to put on the back burner, because I'm like, we've gone through so many samples, like, I just can't get there. And one is, my botanical tonic. So we're doing a botanical cleansing conditioner, and we've tried even with different labs, and it's not where I want it to land. So it's on the back burner now. So yeah, I will not launch anything unless literally my stamp is on it, my integrity. And I'm a Leo with the Scorpio rising and Virgo moon, so it's a tough one to hit.
And how important is that for you to be an example of the brand that you represent? Because I know a lot of people that have brands, they don't necessarily wear their own brand or represent it. How important is it for you to be that sort of walking billboard for what you do?
Marisol's my housekeeper and family. She's been with me for 25 years, since 1998. You've been to my house. I only use my products. I don't use anyone else's products. So again, I'm creating them for the need of myself, my customer, my client, all of that. But when people see it, I'm like, I'm live on TikTok, Instagram, all the time, and I walk through my house. I'm like, I'm not staging. This is my house. It's what I live and breathe. I don't have any other product. Actually, when I go to people's house that are WEN people and I see other things in there, I'm like, why do you have that in here? Yeah, because I live and breathe it. It's like I only use I've created products for a need, for what my needs are. I've created my self-tanner for that reason. I used to settle for self-tanners. I'm pale. I can't stand how pale I am. And I've self-tanned since I was in middle school. And I've tried everything out there. And I always settle for either looking slightly orangey or streaky, or always smelled like self-tanner. And it wasn't until like 5 years ago, I'm like, why am I settling for these people's self-tanner that I was satisfied with, but not over the moon about? And so I created my own, and you do not have that self-tanner smell. It's not orangey, it's not streaky, it's a kabuki brush you're brushing on with. So I do it for those reasons. It's like my lip treatment, the same thing. So I developed my lip treatment because when you do lip scrubs, they're usually with sugars, which tear your skin and tear your lips. And when I was developing, I'm like, I don't want any sugar. They kept trying to give me every different kind of sugar. I'm like, I don't know what you're understanding. I don't want sugar in it. We've got to find another way to exfoliate, but without the sugar. So ours is with lemon peel and blackberry seed. You can do it twice a day and it will never be too much. When I used to do lip exfoliators before, it's like I couldn't do it but like every 2 weeks or even less, because it would just tear and it would be so sensitive and irritating. So that's how, and I hope I'm under your understanding. Yeah. I develop my needs, my clients' needs, customers' needs, all of those. But I put a very strong stamp on it as well, because my integrity is on it.
Yeah, I think obviously mental fortitude has been part of your life. Going back to that time when you've developed this product and you don't have the money to put it out, how did you, I guess, mentally fortify yourself for the fact that you might never put it out, or it might be, you have to kind of...
My friends used to tease me about that. I am not joking, because I always had samples. Yeah. I have friends that used to go to Rehoboth Beach and they would invite me, and I would cut their hair and do their highlights out in the backyard. That was my payment. It's like, okay, I can't pay for the drip, but what I can do is I can do everyone's hair. Yeah. So with families and whatnot, do hair in the backyard, highlights in the backyard, whatever we did, cuts. And they knew that Chaz is launching this product. It was always launched in air quotes. Is this ever going to happen?
And how did you deal with that? Because it's like,
it's hard. Because I didn't have money to do it. I knew I had it. I knew it was ready. It was in my back pocket. But it's like I had to wait. But it took me almost 5 years to formulate it as well. Okay. It took me 5 years to perfect where I wanted. And the other part that I didn't say is when I was creating it with the lab, I asked them to formulate me a shampoo and then 2 separate conditioners. And as the years went on, they're like, you haven't made a change to this shampoo. I'm like, no, it's good, because I never intended on launching. But I felt like if I let them know what I was, like my lab didn't know what I was doing. I knew. I didn't tell them I'm creating and it didn't even have a name, cleansing conditioner. There was no category. There was always shampoo, conditioner, deep conditioners. There was no cleansing conditioner category. I didn't know what I was going to call it. I just knew it wasn't shampoo. And at the time, my mom had been diagnosed with cancer as well in January of '96 while I was creating it. And it had sodium lauryl sulfate. And sodium lauryl sulfate, guys, check your toothpaste as well. It goes right to every organ in your body. And so many toothpastes have sodium lauryl sulfate, and it's linked to causing cancer. So putting that in your head every day, putting it in your teeth and brushing your teeth with it every day, pay attention and read your ingredients is insanely important. But I thought if I can change one thing and save one life, it'd be worth everything. Yeah. And my mom unfortunately passed 22 years ago, cancer, after a 5-year battle. But yeah, she was around. She was around for 3 months when I launched it. She passed away February 5th of 2001. I launched it in November of 2000. So she saw my vision. She knew what I was doing, and now she watches over all that.
And I know that we talked about the expansion to New York. Has that been, you had the West Hollywood successful salon, your Chaz Dean, that everyone knows, world-renowned stylist. Was that part of innovating, part of a natural extension of success to go to New York? What inspired that move?
Our customers are clients, because not everybody can get here, but I figure if I'm on the East Coast, West Coast, if you're in the middle, you can at least get to one or the other. And just our customer asking, I've been on QVC now for 18 years, going on my 19th year. I started in 2005 on QVC, and just the customers like, oh, I wish, it's on my bucket list, but I don't think I'll ever get to California. So I had looked, and the irony with that, as well as back when we were doing Flipping Out with Jeff Lewis for all those years, we looked at places with him, and there were places I almost got, but I would have been leasing them. And one of them, one that I loved, it was on Broadway, I loved it, but even as I was getting ready to sign the lease and we're ready to move forward with it, the landlord tried to stick it to me because other people showed interest in it, and he wanted more than double what I was going to. I'm like, no, can't do that. So I'm so grateful that that didn't happen, because I now own the building, and I got in it in 2015. So where I'm at now is great if you can. And again, I was able to back then, but I own the building is very different than, because I know some even Pump right here. Pump supposedly left because the rent supposedly was $80,000 a month. Supposedly, I don't know, but allegedly that's insane. That's insane. So yeah, let that be your mortgage. Let that be your mortgage. But that's my point: is once you're in and you build your business. I was that way in Bel Air. Because I was with the landlord there. I own the one in Hollywood, but in Bel Air, the landlord, your roof would leak, and you were responsible for your roof. It's not my building, but yet you as a tenant were responsible for your roof leaking. It was insane, and they stick it to you. So same thing, guys. Anytime you can, if you can get a deposit down, and you're looking at how much would you be paying on your rent versus could that be your mortgage instead, that's the deal.
And of course, that a lot of that success has been built on the QVC success, and you are the QVC king, and I know that every entrepreneur that's got a product wants to know how to get on QVC. How did that process begin? Do you have tips for people trying to begin now?
Mine was at my high, like one of the highest at the time. It was the reason I'm on there in my security is Desperate Housewives had just gone on the air in September. If anyone remembers Desperate Housewives, not the Real Housewives, Desperate Housewives. They went on the air in September. I hosted, because we used to always host style lounges. We hosted an Emmy Style Lounge, and Terry Hatcher was there, Marsha Cross was there, and I had met them. They loved WEN, sent them home with it. They started using it on the set. They got a house account set up. They were nominated for their Golden Globe in their first year, so I went to meet them. Bonded with Terry Hatcher. She invited me to her 40th birthday party, found out everyone was using WEN. And so in January of 2005, they invited me to the set because Oprah was doing a spoof on Desperate Housewives. So I went to the set and I brought a gift basket. They asked me if I wanted to do a gift basket for Oprah because she was going to be on doing spoof. I'm like, let me think about it. Of course I do. So I did a gift basket. And still another lesson, I almost sent my assistant to bring it because I was busy, really busy that day. I'm like, you bring this truck up? She goes, well, what if I go and I were to meet Oprah? Wouldn't you feel like, she said, I would feel horrible if I went and met Oprah and you didn't go. I'm like, I didn't even think about that, like the chance of potentially meeting Oprah. So I said, you know what, you're right. Let me juggle things around and I'll go with you. So we went, and I went, pulled in on the lot, and they said, do you want to bring it down to Miss Winfrey yourself? I said, yeah. And my assistant looked at me, are you going to be okay with that? I'm like, I have to be. I just said, yeah, of course I'll be. Sure, why not? So this is 2005, and I was just making my way at that point. I was Chaz Dean, but not Chaz Dean. So I went down on set, and I had this huge basket for her, and she was talking to Mark Cherry, like literally closer than you are right there. I'm like, oh my God, that's goddamn, that's Oprah Winfrey right there. And her show was on. She was in 2005, everything. She was like it. And so she walked by me, and I was holding a huge, because you know how big we make our basket? It was a quarter of the size of that table. It was big, twice this size. And I'm holding this basket, and she walks by, and she went, like I was holding the food up there. She went, like that sure looks good. And I said, they all use WEN. And she goes, is that the secret? Is that why all their hair looks so good? I'm like, yeah. Same thing with Desperate Housewives. If you go back and watch episode 1, the pilot, and then watch when they went when they picked it up, what's it called? You know what it's called? When they went to season, whatever you call it. So you watch the pilot and then watch when they actually launched episode 2, 3, and 4. Their hair is night and day. But the women used it, the guys used it, the kids, everyone. It was a WEN set. They all used WEN. It was insane. So she goes, is that the secret? I'm like, yeah, they all use WEN. So she went, she did her thing on set, and she came off, and Andre, her stylist, came up and he talked to me all about it. And at the time, Halle Berry used it, Tisha Campbell used it, Holly Robinson Peete, and they're all on her show. They'd all just been on her show. I'm like, all your girls use it, just ask them. They'll tell you. Because to convince me, and honestly, me as a white boy, convincing men and women of color that my product's gonna work for you, I knew I was up against the wall, and I knew that. I was told, I used to do Dana Devin and Lisa Gibbons' hair and Extra, and Reggie, who was a producer on there, he was a big black guy, and he told me, you're gonna have to package it different, you're gonna have to launch something different because we're used to buying it on aisle 5. I'm like, nope, maybe that's what you're used to, but not with my product. I know what I created, I know what's for it, I know how it works. So telling Andre the same thing with confidence, yep, you'll use it, love it. So Oprah came on set, and I told her all about it, and she was so excited. And she walked away strutting, like, I can't wait to shampoo my hair. And up until that day, I've corrected anyone that calls it shampoo, and you know that. I'm like, it's cleansing conditioner, because I want you to remember that. And so that day she said, I can't wait to shampoo my hair. I'm like, I let her get away with it. As I got in my car, I realized I should have corrected her. And I should have, because she would then remember, I called it shampoo and he corrected me. So that was a lesson for me. And it was Oprah, so I'm like, you can call it shit. I don't care what you call it. But again, lesson learned. If I had done it again, it was a cleansing conditioner, because it would have stuck more. But that's what gave me the confidence. I had gone back and forth with dabbling with trying to get in touch with QVC, but I wasn't successful. I had a friend that sold on it, and it's weird, because I'm like, I'll give you all the context I can, but some people are territorial with that, and they know that if someone new comes in, it means they might get less airtime. So, and that's how it works. You could, if someone else is on, you might get less airtime. So they kind of want to help you, but well, here's it is, and good luck. And so it gone back and forth, and by the time I walked off that set, I'm like, okay, the Housewives are using it. They're globally everywhere. Everyone's talking about Desperate Housewives. The #1 show, Oprah now is. If they don't want it, they're never gonna want it. So I called again, telephone tag, because this is in January, telephone tag, and it wasn't until the end of March. And I was at the salon, they're like, you have a call from QVC. And I'm like, oh my God, I'll take it. So I did. And they said, we're thinking about meeting with you. When would you like to come? We'd like to meet with you. And I said, when? They said, how's April 4th? And it was like a week away. I'm like, I'll do it. So I went there, and also right before that happened, because I had met Nicole Murphy through Holly Robinson Peete for Hollywood Foundation, and I've been doing it for 23 years now, but she was married to Eddie Murphy at the time. And she's the one that looked at me when I met her at a fashion show, and I went up to her, and I know she's thinking, you little white boy, you just tried to tell me my product's gonna work on me. And I did, And she came in the salon, just cleansed her hair, did nothing else, just cleansed it, put her under the dryer, and she's like, okay, where do I sign up? So she, at the point in time, was buying it by the gallon because she has 5 kids, all of them completely different hair types. So going to QVC, knowing that it was my confidence, is I guess what I'm gonna say. So when I went and I met with him, I didn't use Oprah's name either. It was in my back pocket, knowing the confidence of that, but you don't use Oprah's name unless she gives you permission to. So I just knew I'm on cloud 9, Oprah, Housewives, Nicole Murphy, all that. So walked out of the meeting at QVC and I said, if you were gonna do this, how would you do it? Like, oh no, we're doing this. And that was it. But the first time I was on air, I came off air, we sold out, and I came off air and they said, congratulations, you're gonna be back. And I'm like, you mean there was a chance that I might not have been? Like, yeah, if you didn't do well and sell out, you're not coming back. So yeah, it just built and built and built and just kept building. It just kept building every time we went on. And I started with just hits, like 8 minutes hits, and then 9 months later they gave me an hour show, and it just kept evolving. And it's like, my product is one that it needs to be explained. It's not gonna sit on this, well, now people know what cleansing conditioner is, but back then, 2005, what's a cleansing conditioner? What is this? Where's the shampoo? And that's what I say. I got the conditioner, but where's the shampoo? I'm like, there is no shampoo, that's the point. So yeah, it's a way to explain it, and it's a great platform to be able to educate and explain.
Yeah, and I think that longevity is a testament to the quality of the products. And I know that you're a believer that, you know, what goes on you is just as effective or more important as what goes inside you.
Yeah.
And so equating those two, how has that philosophy shaped your line, cruelty-free vegan, which, you know, we're always championing here. So how did that philosophy shape your product development?
Well, you know, I'm vegan now. I've been vegan. September will be 4 years. I was pescatarian for 5 years before that, so no meat for almost 9 years now, or any chicken, fish, or not fish, chicken, turkey, and that stuff for almost 9 years. But knowing that with launching my product in November of 2000, no animal byproducts, no animal testing, cruelty-free. I launched it that way, and now, yeah, I'm on QVC, and you see the buzzword is, oh, vegan, cruelty-free. I'm like, I've been that way for 23 years. I launched it that way. When I did the infomercial with Guthrie Ranker, part of my element was, and I'm being honest, like, you cannot, I won't let you allow you to sell in China because they require animal testing. Like, you can never sell in China for that reason. They require animal testing. So, not an option. So yeah, it's, again, I wasn't vegan at the time, but I just was an animal lover and so forth, and like, there was no reason for that. There's no reason for animal byproducts to be in our products and putting it on your hair, face, body, or skin.
I love that. And I guess that maybe led you to the pet care line that you have as well?
Yeah, because I love animals. I've had animals for, God, 20 plus years, growing up, but then my own 20 plus years. And I would always use our cleansing conditioner on the dogs, and people say, oh, do you have one for pets? Do you have one for pets? And they ask it constantly. I'm like, oh, I just use Sweet Almond, I use Tea Tree, I use this one on the pets, whatnot. And I thought, I'm asked this all the time, I should create one for pets. And then I also did my research, and their pH level is higher than ours. So our WEN Pets is between the 7 to 8 pH, where we're 4.5 to 5.5. So yeah, our pH level for our WEN Pets is a bit higher. They do have more essential oils in theirs because you're not worried about weighing down hair, because they're coats for the moisture and hydration. So they have more essential oils in theirs than we do. But I do get questions from people, can I use WEN Pets myself? I'm like, you can, but I have people, but I mean, they do. Like, can I use, I'm like, you can use yours on your pets. You can use your pets if you want to. It is a higher pH, but and I don't know why. I guess because I have a lavender, mint, and eucalyptus, and I don't have that for people. But yeah, people do ask me, can I use WEN Pets on myself? I'm like, you can, but I have like 50 other choices you can use that you don't have to. Yeah, so yes, and I've had people use I have a horse that was a rescue horse that was so dusty and dirty. I just found the picture again the other day after I showed you. So dusty and dirty from rescue, and after one cleanse with the WEN, it looks like literally like that mirror over there, like a show horse. It's amazing. We've had LAPD come, this is years ago now, come to the studio. They used to come up on horseback, and it was Bo and, Bo and Dexter. They used to watch Dexter. Bo and Dexter, the horses, and they were beautiful, but they were dusty and just not shiny. And I gave them WEN Pets, and I said, here, use this. I told them how to use it, and they did. And I said, whenever you do, just, send me a picture, come back, whatever, whatnot. they literally used it and came back the next day. And I have pictures of the before and their after, and it's insane. It's insane. They just glisten, the shine on them. I have people that show horses that use it. We've also, we're part of the Westminster Kennel Club as well, dog club, and people that use it for their dogs, they get the cutting edge when they do, because they're so soft, so silky, and so shiny. So yeah, we sponsored them for many years, the Westminster Kennel Club.
Wow, down even to pet care, and then you have home and then fragrances, and so many different categories. And I kind of consider you like the OG influencer, you know, kind of known for your product, but known for yourself. How do you balance your life when you are kind of 24/7 on and have to be, because people know that that's Chaz Dean, that's the hair guy, he's got to be on, he's got to look his best at all times. It
kind of just is. And I do, like last night, I know they love it when I have my garden, which I love. You have to see I have my garden finally. Growing up in Pennsylvania, I was responsible for the gardening from like 9 to 13 years old. I had not had a garden until COVID happened. The first year I had it was in 2021, my first garden. And it's evolved now, and this year, blooming like crazy, so much, it's absolutely amazing. But I know they love seeing the garden. They know I eat from my garden. I went live 2 nights ago and showing this is all from my zucchini from my garden, my artichokes from my garden, I have my corn from my garden, and showing all that. They just love it. And last night I'm like, they want us, and they get inspired by it, and I love that. And I've been able to turn people vegan, or at least vegetarian, by watching me and eating better. And that's why I do that. The other part is product, when they have product questions. But I do, and it's during COVID, I found that so many people said, like I got through it because of my angels, Belle and Riley. I got through, I don't know how I would have got through it without my labs. But other people are like, you saved me through COVID, and watching you and learning from you. And I found you through COVID, and you inspired me. Go walking, we do 2-3 mile walks with the angels. So like, you got me out walking now. So it's just live your life and inspire the people that are part of your life. So yeah, mine, it could be hiking, it could be walking, it could be swimming. On Fridays we go swimming and grooming with the angels, and I show them, and they're like, oh my gosh, I probably never get to California, but you're bringing me there. So it's, yeah, I do it, and it helps connect to my brand, and it helps them feel like they're part of us, because they are. They know her like Marisol, like crazy. So I have owls, and they literally said, because I've had people that passed, Victor from the Abbey, he passed a year ago. He was manager of the Abbey. He passed a year ago. I was insanely close with him, and in his final years, because he battled for 8 years with his cancer, but we had so many long talks, and we would talk about, we both believe in, I've had so many people that passed, and I've told them how they've connected with me. And he says, oh, when I'm there, you're going to know it's me. You're not going to have to think about it. And he's connected me with owls. There's owls at my property almost every night, and they're on my GX, when I'm building. They're there, and even my people know, that's Victor. I know it is. So they get inspired by that. A woman today just reached out to me and said, oh my God, with your cooking and your this and your owls, you've given me hope and whatnot. And it just be you and show who you are, and you'll connect with people that resonate with who you are. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. But for you, when you're kind of feeling low and need to fill up your tank, what do you do? Are you journaling? Are you meditating?
I meditate. Yeah, I meditate. I do my prayers. I do my prayers for the angels. Get 5 kind of meals a day, and their prayers happen every meal they get. So it's not just for them. It's for me. It's for everyone. And people watching, like, God, they did that 5 times a day. I'm like, yeah, they sit there and they're so darn patient. It's like, it's for them, it's for collectively, it's for everything. But my energy is usually, even before COVID, it was like 99%. Now I'm probably in the 80s, because there's just so much stuff going on. It's just, I showed something yesterday. It was someone else's post on TikTok, and it was a bee that was covered in honey. And the husband saved it. I don't know if you saw it. Saved it. He put it on a stick, brought it to. I have bees in my garden too that were they were on my property, and the beekeepers came and they harvested them, and they finally brought them back to me. And it's doubled in like less than 2 months. The beehives have doubled. So they're happy. They're buzzing. It's insane. But they took that bee and they brought it back to its hive. And as soon as they did, Marisol, I showed you, all of his brothers and sisters, whichever they are, came and started licking it and cleaning that bee instantly to get all the honey off it to save that bee's life. And I'm like, bees are so much effing kinder than people. I'm like, if we could take a portion of that, I have to post it, but it was amazing. I showed it when I was live last night, and everyone's like, that's amazing. It's amazing. It's innate with them. Bees, from the day they're born, they start working. Bees basically live 40 to 45 days. It takes bees their whole life, which is 40 to 45 days, except the queen lives longer. And I'm not sure I don't remember exactly what it is, but it's much longer. But it takes the bees their 40 to 45 days to make 1 tablespoon of honey. So when you eat 1 tablespoon of honey, know that was a bee's whole life. I got goosebumps. Wow. It's insane. We need to learn from, nature, but if we stopped at bees, we would be much better off.
Yeah, wow, you just have like an inspiring journey. I want to open up a little bit to the audience to see if they have any questions there. Let's see, any questions from the audience for Chaz?
So, yeah, you were right. I'm from Bulgaria, and that was the best show ever, Desperate Housewives.
It was everywhere. It was.
And even my mom was like, they have the best hair ever.
There was just one that came up of Marsha Cross from the set, and I reposted it, and she actually liked it yesterday. It was just from it, and I'm like, remember when, and I put WEN, because they were all, the whole set, the guys, the kids, they were my clients at the salon, and they were all one. Even Longoria got her L'Oreal contract because she was a WEN girl. They even said it, you can find it online somewhere. They hired her because her long, silky, glossy hair. I'm like, because she was a WEN girl. And again, I can't pay the millions that they pay insane. But their hair, it was a walking billboard. The ad campaigns that they did one, I remember it because it came up the other day. They were in a laundromat, and it says, not everything comes out in the wash. And I'm like, you could have branded with me and said with WEN. So yeah, I don't know if you remember, but they did great campaigns. Their campaigns were incredible. But yeah, it was worldwide. They took the world by storm. I missed that show because it was clever. It was a great show.
I have a question. How did you name your brand?
I knew you were going to say that. I do get that question. I'm like, okay, so if you remember going back to 1993, 4, 5, all the way to 2000, so 93 for 7 years, imagine me telling you, you don't need to use shampoo, you're never going to use shampoo again, I'm going to mix this. I used to mix, every client that came, I had to mix. Do you remember 2/3? She talked about it. She had me sign a bottle. She goes, I remember we used to fill the 16 ounces from the gallons and whatnot. She goes, so she had me sign it just yesterday.
Yeah.
She goes, I remember you used to say, okay, you're gonna work here and then we're gonna go fill bottles. I used to do all that. So when I was getting ready to launch it, I didn't know what I was gonna call it. I didn't even know what I was gonna call. It wasn't shampoo, and I knew that. What am I going to call it? I'm like, well, it's cleansing and it's conditioning at the same time. And I went through my head, cleansing, conditioner. I'm like, yeah, that makes sense because you're cleansing and you're conditioning. There was no category back then. There was no such thing. So that was part of it. But I thought, I want to name it something with 3 letters. I'm very numerical, it's very important to me, numbers. So I wanted something with 3 letters, and I wanted to have meaning. And I thought, what does it mean to me in the past 5, 7 years? What does it mean to me? And I'm like, I always tell people, as long as you trust me, I promise it works. And it's a whole new way of looking at cleansing your hair. So I wrote down new on a piece of paper. And anything that correlated to it, I wrote on a piece of paper, and then I held it up in front of a mirror, and it said, new WEN, new WEN. It's a whole new way of looking at cleansing your hair. Most people, backwards way of looking at cleansing your hair. And like, it's 3 letters, it has a very zen feel. I'm like, I like it, new WEN, new WEN. So it's a new way, backwards way, in most people's eyes, of looking at cleansing your hair. Yep.
Peace, my name's C5.
What's your name?
C5.
C5, nice to meet you.
Thank you, man. A very inspirational interview. My question is, if you could tell your younger self anything that you know now, what's some things that you would tell?
I've never accepted, you know this about me, I've never accepted no for an answer, even with my production team. Like, if it's a no, I'm like, okay, that's a no, but how are we getting to that yes? I know no's happen, they happen my whole life. But if that's a no, what about this? If that's a no, what about this? If that's a no, what about? I will keep going until I get to that yes. Do not give up, but I've always done that. So it's not like, I guess the thing I have to tell myself is, I didn't give up. I never did give up, but it took me most of my life to get here. This breakthrough didn't happen until 15 years ago, which is more than half of my life, obviously. So it would be, don't give up. And I never did, but did it seem like, I don't know, I guess the example is like, I would be told, oh, we want you to do a hair for Faith Hill for a music video, and I'd get all excited about it, and boom, it wouldn't happen. We wanted you to do for Shania Twain for that main song. Why don't you do and then it wouldn't happen. I'm like, why do I keep getting this dangled in front of me for it not to happen? It was the most frustrating thing. I'm like, I don't get it. I am who I am, and she's known me for 25 years. I am who I am. I stand in who I am. I don't sway from it. It's not like if I get this success, all of a sudden I'm going to become this monster, this person over here. I'm rooted in who I am, and it would be to not give up, which I never did, but I think I'd have to tell myself, don't give up, and it will all work out in the end, because I never did give up. It's just a matter of, it was frustrating she was with me for so many of those years. Even when she used to work for me and I couldn't afford to pay what I could, and I understand she had to do what she had to do, and I'm like, when I do better, I promise I'll pay you better. And she came back to work for me when I was able to do better. So I understand she had to do what she had to do. Sorry.
Got another one over there.
Okay. Hi, Chaz. I'm Alden.
What is it?
Alden.
Alden, nice to meet you.
I've actually had my hair cut several times from Rico in your studio.
Thank you.
And I clearly need it again. But so you've just done so much in the hair care space and styling, and I'm actually wondering, like, what does the future look like, and what are you excited for in the self-care hair care space?
I'm working on it. Finally happened. We interviewed a year and a half ago or so. We were looking for someone in marketing, and people that I interviewed, one person actually used to work and develop pop tools for G and this and that, Paul Mitchell and so forth. And I'm like, I have wanted forever to do my own tools. I just didn't have those connecting links. And so I'm like, okay, I'm hiring someone else for that, but where I see you is in this. And if you want the job, this is where I want to hire you. And it was developing, I'm working on, and it will be next year for one of them, is my own line of color, at-home colors, because I've created from 93. I do what's called a glossing, which I use permanent color, vegetable color, WEN cleansing conditioner, WEN smoothing glossing serum, and a small amount of peroxide. So it's so forgiving. It's for everybody. You can lighten your hair if you use a light color. You can lift it some levels, but it grows in really forgiving. You don't have a harsh line of demarcation. I've done it for 30 years now, and people have always said, how can I get an at-home glossing? How can I get an at-home glossing? I never had those connections with anyone. So when I finally interviewed this girl, and she had those connections, and someone actually reached out to me from Italy about a color line. I'm like, oh my God, it's all finally lining up 30 years later. So I'm working with it's zero color, it's vegan, it's cruelty-free, and it's ammonia-free, and I'm so excited to be working on it with them. I had hoped for it to be this year, but I'm being honest, they're out the whole month of August as well. It's much slower in Italy, so it won't be till next year. So that's one element. I'm crazy excited about it. So we're launching 7 colors in that, from blonde to the darkest brown. And then also my tool, I'm doing a tool because I'm signature for our blowouts with the round brushes, and that's the same thing. When I used to do that, people used to look at me like, oh my God, this kid's crazy, because it's when no one did it. I used to do round brush, and I put them in the hair, and I would use them to set the hair, and I would have like 13, 15 brushes in the head, and all the other stylists would look at me like, you're an idiot. They would look at me like, you're a fool, you're an idiot. I'm like, whatever, look at her hair. And then all of a sudden, a couple of years later, they're all doing the same thing, and they all do, and people do it now. But I did it back in the late 90s, and it was with Wild Orchid when it was Fergie, when she was in Wild Orchid. That's how I used to do her hair. She always wanted to look like Pamela Anderson, so we would put the Fergie, Fergie. So it's when before they even kicked off Wild Orchid, when they were launching their first album. They were my girls, and I would do the brushes and the big Pamela Anderson hair and whatnot. So I've always wanted to, I just didn't have that space. So it's the idea of that, all that brush setting and so forth, but it's a dryer with a tool and attachments and whatnot. So it's finally gonna launch in October, thank goodness. So I'm crazy excited about that. It weighs less than a pound. With the cord, it's 1.5 pounds. When you're holding the tools up, it's under a pound, which is amazing. Because I have so many people that, I have shoulder issues from everything. I've been doing this since I was 19. So I've screwed up my shoulders. Anyone that's done hair for that long, screwed up shoulders. So I'm excited about that. The tool, hot tool, the styling tool, not hot tool, styling tool, because it doesn't exceed 240 degrees either, because people are burning the shit out of their hair. And I ask people, I see them all the time, like, I know the answer before I say it. I'm like, oh, you're using, and I'm like, I know in my head, sorry, not to diss it, but Dyson, I'm like, I know, I can tell because your hair is all singed and burned, and then just turn the heat to the lowest setting because it's so damn hot. It's over 300 plus degrees, and they're burning and singeing their hair. So mine, it doesn't really exceed 220, but on the box we're putting 240 just as that safety buffer. So it's about preserving the health integrity there. So those are the two things I'm most excited about. And once I launch the color line, expanding it obviously, but you have to launch, start it somewhere. So the first 7 colors. Does that help? Did you get it? Yes? What's your name?
Megan.
Thank you. Megan?
So my question is, with all of your, drive for success and all of your hard work that you've put in, like all these years, and like I will say, I definitely was like one of the first supporters back when you started at QVC. I saw the infomercial stuff and I was like, I need that. I remember calling.
And they're beautiful. We already acknowledged that, but you were talking to someone. Go ahead.
Oh, thank you. Yes, and so I'm wondering, how do you manage like work life, personal life, like balance, if that exists? Because you're so
ask her.
You're so committed to your success, and I know, like, Leo, Scorpio rising, Virgo moon. It's like very much so to-do list assassin, trying to get it all in, reaching the heights of success. But it's like, how do you manage like personal life, dating, self-care, all of that?
I do the self-care part because I do that. I don't sleep much. I sleep between 4 and 6 hours a night. I try to get more sleep. Even on Sundays, I try to take to myself. I have so many friends that invite, oh, you want to go to brunch? You want to go to party? I think you've invited me. Because on Sunday, I'm like, Sundays, that's my recharge, and I need it to me. So selfishly, I'm like, I keep Sunday carved for my angels and myself, and just at home with nature, out in the daybed or on the roof deck or whatnot. Sundays are what refuel me and recharge me, but the rest is like 6 days a week. She knows, like anywhere from 18 plus hours a day. But I don't know how. I don't know where I get that. I don't drink coffee. I don't do sugar. I never have. Decaf coffee gets me amped. Even I love the drinks, the ones that are here. I can only take sips of them. Those I can only take sips. I did like half one once. I'm like, oh my god, I'm like amped. So it's just my energy. I don't know. But again, she's known me for 25 years, and she knows. She's like, you need to. I'm like, I don't do vacation because, and I've said this before, I don't really do vacations because I am afraid that if I take one that's long enough, I might not want to start over again. That is like halfway a joke, but I'm really kind of serious because when COVID happened, I looked at it like my life before COVID was at least double what it is now, and I'm like, how did we do what we did before COVID? Because we were in and out of town. We could be in and out of town to QVC twice a month. We were gone half of the year. Now I have New York, which I'm going to be close to half a year, but not quite as much. But I look at my life before COVID, and I'm like, I don't know how I did it. So I don't know. I really don't. I look at it, I'm like, how did we do what we did? We traveled with a team of like 20, 24 of us at a time. The angels with us, constantly going. It was constant going. I don't know how I did it. I just did. It was in like autopilot, I guess. And even now, going back to QVC in the studio and going to New York, I love it. When I'm in New York, I work 5 days a week in the salon. When I'm here, it's Zoom calls and meetings. And I used to be behind the chair all that time, and trust me, I like that so much better than the Zoom meetings and stuff. But all the business stuff now took over because of COVID, and I can't seem to get out of that because they're all locked in, meeting, and so forth. But in New York, we go to dinners, and I love it. I told him, I'm the only really vegan one in my whole group, but they go to the vegan restaurants with me and all, and they end up usually honestly loving it. Plant a Queen in the city of New York is ridiculous. It's my non-vegan's favorite restaurant in New York. Out of every restaurant, it's Plant a Queen. And someone told me about it. It's vegan sushi, but it's their sushi, and they use eggplant as their eel. There's one here now. It's in Marina. It's Planta Cucina, and it's really good. They have some of it, but in all honesty, it's the water. It tastes better in New York. It's really good. So I balance it. I go to shows and concerts and whatnot. I guess that's my outlet. It doesn't feel like work to me, kind of. Even when I'm live with the people I'm helping and whatnot. So yeah, and I'm not a dater. I don't date. I'm not a dater.
I see. So you just love what you do. So
Yeah.
it's like recharging you.
Yeah.
And one last question.
I'm just worried about the products. I'm just wondering if you have done something in the realm of slowing the gray hair.
Yeah, it's funny you say that. Actually, try my Bella Spirit line because I don't know why. I don't even have the answer to it, but I've seen it. I've witnessed it with my clients. When they use the Bella Spirit products, it's like their salt becomes more pepper. And I don't have the answer why. I just know that my salt and pepper clients are noticing more pepper, less salt in guys and women. And I'm like, I can't give them the answer because I don't know what's in there that's causing it to do that. But I noticed it through our clients and they notice it. I'm like, yeah, you used to be so much more salt, you have so much more pepper. One of our clients who was so proud of going gray, she's like, I'm getting so much more of my natural color back in my hair. So the Bella Spirit cleansing conditioners, I don't know why. I don't know why. I just know it happens. Yeah, so it has 12 proprietary ingredients in it of lavender water, cucumber water, eucalyptus water, bamboo water, white tea, green tea, red tea, black tea, manuka honey, eucalyptus honey, orange blossom honey, and sage honey. So it has 12 proprietary ingredients to us in it. But I'm not sure what combination in there that's so unique and different from my other ones. But with Bella Spirit, they notice that they have less gray, they become more pepper and less salt.
But I hope people take away from this how knowledgeable you are and how hands-on you are with your own products and how that translates to success. But I do want to ask you the final question. You're talking to a new entrepreneur, they want to bring something to market. What can you tell them to kind of wander well through that journey, both on balancing life, but also making sure that your kickoff is successful?
I think my main thing is find a niche of something that's, find a problem and find a solution to it is a big part. Like, what things drive you crazy, and that's the best way to find, like, every time I do, like, my self-tanner, it's like, I was doing it for years, I'm like, I'm settling for this, why? So what is it that either bugs you, drives you crazy, or what are you settling for, and how can you fix that is the biggest part, because we all do it every day. It's like, there's things you do that, if only I could do it this way, or if only I didn't have to do this, is the element. So what things drive you crazy that you wish could be different, and figure out how to do that different would be a big part. And then you can never, because I was with the infomercial for 13, 14 years, with QVC now 18, and between the two of them, there's a lot, and they take a lot from you. And I would always tell them, you need to not, if you ever kill my passion, it's authentic. I can't get up there and fake it. This is what it is. And if I lose this, then you lose that. So I know how I am. And it's like, my sister knows. I can joke with her. She's like, look at me. I'm like, I can tell you're lying. I'm like, I'm not lying. I'm joking, but this is who I am. And I can't fake it. So then you can't lose your passion. You've got to have your passion, or otherwise you're just going through the motions and it's not going to be fun.
Thank you. It's such an inspiration for you here. Where can we best support you and find you online?
ChazDean.com is our website, but I'm on TikTok, Chaz Dean, Instagram, Chaz Dean. Twitter's still kind of there, barely do it. Twitter and Threads is Chaz Dean. And Facebook is Chaz Dean fan page. And then WEN by Chaz Dean is all of them, plus Pinterest. And Chaz Dean Studio is all of them. And Chaz Dean Studio NYC is all of them. So yeah, but mine personally, I go live on mostly TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook.
Thank you. And you can find this podcast at Wonder World Living. This will be streaming on all podcast platforms under Wonder World. Thank you guys for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you.